Is it okay now?
Yeah. Now we can see you. Your pretty face. Come on. How you been, my friend? We miss you
nice
very, very much.
Yeah,
In this
I
part
miss
of
you
the
too.
world.
I miss you too, guys.
How's everything back there?
Man, like we've been in total lockdown for the past 15 days. So it's been quite interesting.
15 days already. Here we're just starting. We started 2 days ago.
No, 15 days, and we have 15 more days to go.
Wow. It's a lot.
And after that, you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen here, right?
Exactly.
And how are you coping with everything?
We're on a country farm right now, like 35 minutes from Medellin. We came up here because we're here in the nature, so we can walk and we can go outside to walk our dogs and everything. So hasn't been that bad. But on the other side, we have all our families in Medellin. They're in total lockdown. I haven't seen my mom for the past 15 days. She's alone in her apartment, so it's quite stressful, man. So it's
I get you. Yeah.
It's complex,
It's very complex. Totally. Yeah. I feel you, because it's the same for me having my family in Argentina. It's even more further away. So, but yeah, we're doing good. So yeah, good to know that everything is good with your family back there, and that you're in a really beautiful place, and in a place where you can relax, walk, and be in contact with the nature. Doing the farm life, right?
Yep.
Are you milking cows already?
No, man, because I want to tell you that these past 15 days have been the days that I have to work the most in all my life.
Really? In all your life?
Yeah. My work has doubled these past 15 days. So
okay, let's start there. Why are you working so much? What are you working on?
Because one of the companies that I helped create it, and that I'm now full time. It's a full time.
Sorry. Let me interrupt you before you start. 1 second. Okay. Sorry. At first, I want to introduce you, because many of the viewers know who you are, but many probably this is the first time that they are seeing you. So let me introduce you properly. Here I'm speaking with Alejandro Lopez. He's a serial entrepreneur and a very serious entrepreneur as well. He's been working, he's an engineer, but also he has an MBA, and he did a long career in the corporate world. And then he jumped into the entrepreneurship lifestyle, and he never stopped. He already opened more than 10 companies already. I don't know. I lost track of how many companies you are part of. And you also did a sabbatical year here in Australia. You came to Inside Academy. Well, you came to visit Australia for a year. You worked at Inside Academy as a coach, as a mentor, as an advisor as well. And then you went, how long have you been already back in Colombia?
Since
3 months?
Last November. Yes, 3 months.
More, We're in March, April, so like 5-6 months already. Wow, time goes by really, really quick. And now he's back in Colombia with a new company. In fact, it was a company that you first invested in like 4 years ago, and now you're part of the company, like part of the staff of the curriculum, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you're working on now, and that's what has you very, very busy.
Yes, exactly. I work in a lot of stuff, but today that's my full-time job. The company is Bossy, okay?
Bossy. Tell us, what does exactly Bossy do?
Bossy started like 4 years ago, started as a cloud fund company, okay? To help automatize sales teams and integrations with CRMs, basically. Okay. But then 2 years ago, the founder, the name is Humberto, envisioned that the company needed to start like working with the thing that is most natural in the human being, that is the voice, right? So he started to create on another layer, on an upper layer of Boshi, and started to integrate voice technology with artificial intelligence to create virtual assistants. Basically, when you call, for example, a bank, your call is being attended by a human being, right?
Yeah.
This company, what does is that that same phone call, it's being attended by a robot, basically. Okay. It's not pre-recorded, it's natural. Okay, the robot, it's learning through every conversation. So it's
a robot that talks, that learns, and that talks with you, so they can interact really with you.
Exactly. It's not that easy. It's artificial intelligence again. Artificial intelligence is not 100% self-taught. You have to put some input on the code, right?
Okay.
But the robot
give it like a feedback.
Yeah, input and then feedback. Input. Okay. That's how the cycle works. Okay. Exactly. So if you have a business case, for example, if you call a bank, you have to put some input, right, on the facts that you want to test. Okay. Frequently asked questions, or the questions with the possible responses for that questions. Okay. Yeah. You have to put that input there. But the robot can learn from that conversation. That's the beauty of it.
So it starts with an initial structure, with an initial database of information, of answers. Yeah. For instance, if we were talking about Inside Academy, we would have to input all the information.
Like a script. You have to give the robot like a script. Okay?
Oh, okay, perfect.
Like a script.
Perfect. Yeah, okay. Like a customer service script.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
But the robot can learn from that conversation. That's the beauty of the thing.
And how does it deal with people that have different accents or different words, you know? Because in Colombia, how many like different types of Spanish do you have?
Slang. No, actually, we created the robot with different accents. We have Argentinian, Chilean, from the accent from Chile, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Colombian, Peruvian. We have a lot of accents, all from Latin America. But the tricky part comes with the slang. Okay, it's very difficult to give the robot the input of a slang. Okay,
yeah, I can imagine.
So but that's why the script is so important in the initial phase, because the script walks through the customer into a response. Okay, so the robot is pushing the customer to give a response.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's what's keeping you very busy at the moment. We're talking that these are the busiest moment in your life.
This is the busiest moment in my life, and this is the most, I think, is the single most important thing for the company right now. This, sadly, but it's true, this COVID-19 thing has become the most single important thing for the company right now. It's a huge opportunity for us, because everyone is calling the contact centers, the call centers, the BPOs right now, airlines, banking institutions, hospitals, clinics, insurance, everything. So everything is collapsed, and the robot can start or can help balance those conversations. So a lot of calls goes into the robot, and other calls goes into the human being, right?
Wow.
So we're helping contact centers right now.
Yeah.
So it's a huge opportunity for us.
Yeah, I can imagine. This context is for your company. It's a huge opportunity because all the companies need to go through this digital transformation, and now is the moment that they have to do it. They don't have another option. They have to do it, because if not, the system will fail.
Will fail, exactly.
But it's interesting that you're not entirely replacing the humans yet.
No.
It's not that you're
No, that's impossible.
Without a job either.
No. That's impossible. You can't replace the human being. Okay, not in this process, because when the conversation starts to get very complex, you need to forward that conversation into a human being.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah. Okay.
Always, all the time.
Okay. For now.
For now.
Robots don't have feelings either yet. We think.
But let me give you a hint. We can sense with a robot that the name is Lily, by the way. Lily is the name of the robot. Yes. We can sense feelings. Okay.
Emotions in the voice of people.
Yes, exactly. We can sense that.
Like if they are afraid.
If you're afraid, if you're disgusted, if you're
based on the pitch, based on the tone, on the words, right?
Exactly. Based on the frequency. Based in a lot of yeah.
Super interesting.
So we get all those variables into the equation, and we can sense the conversation, and we can say, and actually that's another layer of Lily. So the first layer is Lily, the voice assistant, right?
Yeah.
And we have another 2 layers, even more powerful than the first one. So when the conversation starts to get very complex, you forward that conversation into human being, right? The agent of the contact center and the customer. Okay, you have both ends. They are talking. They're on the conversation. We can sense that conversation through voice analytics, speech analytics. That's the right word for that.
Yeah.
Speech analytics. So we can sense that conversation, and we can send in real time information to the supervisor of this agent. Okay, and we can tell them by Lily. So Lily can tell the supervisor, hey, watch out. The conversation is starting to get messy. It's starting to get in a not a very good tone.
Yeah.
Okay. So the supervisor can get action
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing is that we can send actually information in real time to the agent, not the supervisor, actually to give a response to the customer even before the customer is asking for it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, because you kind of project what they're going to say, and you can anticipate that and give an answer already.
Exactly.
Wow, super interesting. Super interesting.
And the other layer is voice biometrics. Biometrics, okay?
Biometrics.
Voice biometrics. Voice biometrics.
Okay. Voice biometrics.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we can know if you're Lucas, and you're not you're not lying about that. The voice. We obviously need a previous database of the voice, right? But you need a previous database of the digital print, right?
Yeah.
But with the voice has more variables actually, and it's more how can I say? I don't know the word. It's more accurate.
Yeah.
To identify a person by the voice than with the fingerprint.
More accurate with the voice than the fingerprint.
Yes.
No, you're shitty.
No, it's true.
Everybody has a different fingerprint, and the voice are very similar. And what about imitators?
Every single voice is unique. The patterns of your voice are unique. Even frequency, tones, everything.
Even imitators.
What? Even if you have a brother that talks like very likely to you, we can detect if you're Lucas or not.
Wow. So basically you created a system that is like a Shazam, the program Shazam to identify music, but for human voices.
Yes.
So you have a Shazam for human voices.
More or less. That layer of Lily can do that. Okay. So for fraud in the finance system, this is a very powerful tool.
Wow. And I've got 2 questions with this. Does it change the nationality of the person? So if they are English speakers or Spanish speakers, can you recognize it? It doesn't matter. If you have the database, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. If you talk in Spanish or English or German or whatever, Japanese, Mandarin, whatever, we can know if you're Lucas or not.
Wow, that's good. That's good. And the second question is, are you like, your company is the owner of this technology, and are you the only ones in the world to have it?
No.
Okay.
We're not the only ones, but for sure, we're developing these 3 layers that it's getting the company into another level. Okay, so of technology.
The first layer is Lily, the robot.
Lily, the voice assistant. Then you have a speech analytics, and then you have voice biometrics.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, the technology that we use is the same for every layer. It's called neural text to speech.
Okay.
Exactly. That's the science behind the whole thing. Okay, we developed our own neural text to speech. Okay, wow. We have 35 developers right now. Mathematicians, machine learning programmers, people that it's expert on voice recognition. What?
People expert in linguistics, I can imagine.
Exactly. Wow. So we develop our own technology. At some point, we have to take things from Amazon or Google Dialogflow, but only some parts. But the whole technology, the core of our technology is developed in-house.
Okay, most of it is in-house. Right?
Yep.
And tell me, like, give me an example of a tangible solution that you're doing. For instance, which is your latest project, or the project that you're working mostly on now, and who is using it, for instance?
For example, banks. We're very, very good at debt collection.
Okay. So you're the bank.
So the badass is a robot, not a person. Because imagine if a bank is calling a person, right, to collect the debt. Can happen a lot of things, but the thing that happened the most is that the person is going to argue with the human being.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
With the robot, we're more efficient because we have a script and we're just asking that customer the right questions.
Okay, I get it.
See the difference?
Yeah. Okay. Really nice.
So our percentage with the robot of debt collections is higher than with human beings. Way higher than human beings.
Cost is lower.
You know the beauty of this is that customers don't argue with a robot.
Because
so it's very effective. It's very effective.
Okay.
And that's another thing. People don't get me wrong. The voice of Lily is 75% of a human being. There's a 25% that you can detect. Oh, it's not a human being, but it only happens maybe at the end, and the customer then get it. Okay, I'm talking with a robot, right? And we want for that to happen.
Okay, so it's
okay, because we don't want the customer arguing with a robot. We just need a very effective conversation. That's it, period.
Good. Wow. It's really interesting what you're working on. And you mentioned something before about when you started the company and how you were working mostly on CRMs, but then it changed. It pivoted into this artificial intelligence related with voice. You always preach about pivoting. Why do you think, first of all, define yourself, what is pivoting, and why do you think it's important for companies and for people?
Man, it's that easy. It's like pivoting is like you need to change your business model, right?
Why?
The most important word right now in the world is adaptability.
100%.
You agree with me?
100%.
Okay. The first one is love, actually, and then adaptability.
True.
Sorry for being romantic, but it's true.
Love in all these senses, not romantic.
Yeah.
Love to your parents, love to your friends, love to everybody. Love in
That's why pivoting is so important. You need to adapt, right? There's a lot of businesses today that are struggling and having a really bad time.
Yeah.
So you, instead of being home, I know it's difficult. I know it's difficult to go outside and see the big picture, and how can this context of COVID-19, I can make it into an opportunity, you know?
Yeah.
I know it's difficult, but if you are a business owner, that's what you need to do right now.
Totally. So I think a key for this is being able to observe and analyze the context. And do you think that is one of the major things in pivoting, understanding the context first?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, you need, as always, I say this always, and you know me, you need to spot the opportunity. Opportunity equals problems, right?
Yeah.
So if you are trying to have a business and validate that business, is because you're solving a problem. Right now, there's a ton of problems in the world. One of them is COVID-19, but around COVID-19, there's thousands, millions of problems around that same thing. Okay?
In different industries, in
different industries. Let me put you an example. Yeah. Distilleries, whiskey distilleries, right? They were producing a month ago, they were producing whiskey. Yes or no?
Yes, of course.
Okay. They still produce
today?
Okay. What?
They are not doing the same today? They are not producing whiskey anymore?
Maybe they're doing the same thing, but the sales on the whiskey went down. Yes or no?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, because retails are closed, blah, 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 okay? Yeah. They need to pivot something. And they spotted that with this COVID-19, it's all about health, okay?
Yeah.
And hygiene. So what did? They started creating alcohol for sanitizing.
Oh, okay. I get it. So they changed from just working on whiskey to creating hand sanitizer with the same structure or the same ingredients that they use for what whiskey making.
With the same raw materials, with the same process. See, that's pivoting. That's spotting an opportunity. That's spotting a problem that the people is having, because hand sanitizers were going off the shelves of the stores, so they need to produce more. Okay, and I'm going to compensate my sales with producing hand sanitizers. I'm not selling whiskey. I'm going to sell hand sanitizers. You see?
Yeah, and in a company, who should
again? It's easy to it's more easy to say that to actually execute. I know
that's where my question was going. Like, so in a company, who should be kind of in charge of this transformation or identifying these opportunities?
And if you ask me, I don't know, but obviously the CEO, the general manager, but for me, everyone, right?
Yeah.
Everyone should spot an opportunity in this context, in every context, okay?
And it's a good way to add value. If you're working for a company and suddenly you bring these ideas and you start thinking about different.
For sure, man.
You're adding value to
let me give you one thing. If you're an employee, and that's perfect, okay? I have been an employee for 11 years in the corporate industry.
We're going to talk about that now.
If you're an employee of a company and you can come up to the CEO with a really good, not idea, with a really good solution for a real problem, you can climb, you know?
Totally. Yeah, I can imagine. I've got a question. What's the difference from, you said not an idea, a solution. What's the difference?
Idea of itself is nothing.
An idea is
right?
nothing.
An idea is nothing, is zero. First, you need to execute that idea, right? But then, if you execute that idea, who can guarantee you that execution is going to give you a return?
Nobody.
The market, right?
Oh yeah, the customers.
Exactly. But if you're not solving a real problem for them, you're not going to have nothing.
Okay.
You're going to have nothing.
So understand the context and find problems.
Always find problems. And there's one thing here on finding problems. We as human beings, we're so lazy to go out on the streets, to read a newspaper, to read the news, watch the news, and spot real problems. We're lazy about that. We just want to watch Netflix, try to come up with an idea because we watch it on Netflix, and go execute. That's not the way to do it.
So how will you do it? For
go outside.
Somebody who is just starting, somebody who is, I don't know, 20 years old or 25 and wants to change, or like you, I think you were a little bit older when you started being an entrepreneur, right? How old were you? Like 27 or something like that?
No, I was 32.
Okay, 32. So tell me a little bit about that. How do you start trying to find problems to solve?
Man, I was in the corporate industry, right? And I was working for the mining industry. I had everything. Don't get me wrong. I had everything. It was the perfect equation for me. We had everything. Okay. I have a very good job. I was comfortable in my position, but that comfort at the same time discomfort me, right? And the mining industry made it so easy for me to take the leap of faith and to become an entrepreneur. And why? Because the mining industry here in Colombia and almost in every country in the world it's a complex industry. Here in my country, 75% of the mines are owned by illegal groups. So at that time, I couldn't move from point A to point B, the security team, for example. And I didn't want that, okay? At the same time that I was working there, I was finishing my MBA, and I met this teacher from Mexico, crazy teacher. He's an entrepreneur as well. And I remember he told me that, man, you need to create something. You need to spot problems. You need to go outside. You need to fall in love with entrepreneurship. It's the most beautiful thing in the world. So when he told me that, he switched my mind like this. And I quit the corporate industry from one day to another. From one day to another. Yes. Yeah, really.
Without a plan?
What?
Without a plan?
Without a plan.
Wow.
Without a plan. I just remember I talked to my wife. That's another good part of the equation. Yeah, I needed support. And no. But I'm lying. I had the early stage of Turbo Boy growing, at that time.
Sorry,
it wasn't.
Turbo Boy is one of the first.
The first one. No, the first one. It was the first one.
A huge company. You grew it a lot in a couple of years, right? And you finally found an exit by selling your shares of the company last year. And you employed more than 300 people, right? There in Colombia.
But in all the companies.
In all the companies.
Yeah.
Still, 300 positions. And it was a courier company, right? Like logistics, what is called.
Yeah, it was a digital. Yes. It was a digital platform that basically connects supply and demand on last mile deliveries.
Okay.
For enterprise, so for companies. Okay. Yes.
Today we see a lot of global companies like Globo, like Rappi, that is also Colombian. You were like a competition to those? No,
not because, as I told you before, we were focused on delivering for enterprise, for companies. We're not doing groceries and all that kind of stuff. Okay, we helped companies to perform the last mile delivery, small packages and documentation, basically.
So in the logistics sector, you found a niche, basically, right?
Yeah, yeah. Think about eBay, right? We all know eBay, okay? Or Gumtree, they're in Australia. Then you have to place on the checkout, okay? You have a button, and it says you want express delivery, okay? Same day delivery. That button, it's connected to my API, through my API, to my system, and when the customer clicks that button, I'm doing the delivery.
Okay.
Okay?
Perfect. Yeah, I get it. Totally. Great. So, perfect. So you jumped. We're going back to your corporate life. You were working in the mining industry. You had one class that changed your life. So basically, that teacher changed your life.
That teacher gives me the push to change my life.
Okay.
He didn't change my life completely.
The role of a teacher, right?
What?
How important is the role of a teacher?
Very, very important. Very important. Very important. You need to feel that connection between the teacher and the student. And I felt that way with that guy. It was amazing. It was amazing. We clicked from the very first minute we met. And he's a hell of an entrepreneur there in Mexico. He has a lot of companies. He has thousands of employees, and he's very humble. So I think we connected there. And he was giving me a hard time. I can remember that. It's not that we were friends since the very beginning. We clicked. That's different.
Yeah, I get it. You connected. But
yep.
Usually when people talk about MBAs, you connected more with the corporate world. But in this case, it made you get out of the corporate world.
Yeah, exactly. The institution where I did my MBA is Tecnológico de Monterrey. Tecnológico de Monterrey is one of the best education institutions in Latin America, actually in the world.
Yeah.
And it has a very particular thing. They push entrepreneurship into your veins like no one else.
Okay, interesting.
They're all about entrepreneurship because the founder of the Tecnológico de Monterrey is the founder of Cemex. You know the company?
Yeah.
Big cement company.
One of the biggest also in the world.
One of the biggest in the world, exactly. So he wanted to give all the knowledge of entrepreneurship and put it into the education system through the Tecnológico de Monterrey.
Okay. And do you think anybody can be an entrepreneur, or do you have to be born with certain characteristics?
No. I think I wasn't born. See, I was comfortable in my life, receiving a paycheck fortnightly, right?
Yeah.
And then I changed, I switched.
Yeah.
And from that point on, I get addicted to it. I get addicted to uncertainty. I love being uncomfortable. I love that's what drives me every single day to push me forward, you know?
Please go deeper into feeling uncomfortable, because on Wednesday I had a call with Gus. I think you know him, Gus Valentin, as well.
Very good friend of mine.
He also was working in the corporate world. He was a CTO for Lonely Planet for many, many years. And then he also jumped into entrepreneurship, and he said the exactly same thing. Being comfortable with uncomfort. What is that? What does it mean?
No, I think it's very straightforward, Lucas. You need to remember that I have a presentation, right? A PowerPoint. When I showed up the emoji of a shit, you know that?
Yeah, piece of shit. Yeah.
the piece of shit. But the first one is sad, right? It's like with this face. The piece of shit with a sad face. And the next one is the same piece of shit, but with a happy face, right? Yeah. Because if you're an entrepreneur, you're always gonna eat shit. So that's being uncomfortable, right?
Okay. Yeah.
You just know how to taste the shit differently.
Okay, let's repeat. Being an entrepreneur, you're always going to eat shit. Okay.
Always. That's my perception. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, no,
That's my
I'm
perception.
100% with you on that. As you know, I'm an entrepreneur myself. I'm very used to eating shit, and I can say I like it already. But there are a lot of people who are afraid of giving that first step. There are a lot of people that are afraid of having uncertainty in front of them. But also,
I think that's
yeah, sorry.
no. I think that's the thing that is not letting people to go into the entrepreneurship thing, right? They're afraid. People by nature, we're afraid, right? We don't like being said no, as easy as that. We hate the word no.
Yeah.
N-O. But you know what the no word means? New opportunity.
I like it.
New opportunity. You have to think in a positive way as an entrepreneur, right? Totally. Being realistic, but being positive at the same time.
Let me add 2 cents here. I always talk in class about failure. I think I'm in love with failure, not in failure as failure itself, but how do you react to failure?
Exactly. Because maybe at the first attempt, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
But you need to learn. This is a very good thing. You need to learn, guys. You need to learn from that mistake. If you don't learn from that mistake and do the same thing the next time, you're doing nothing. You're going to fail again. And that's when it becomes a frustration. Okay? But if you learn from the previous mistakes previous mistakes, and you apply that thing into the next thing, for sure you're gonna have better chances to come up with something great. Okay?
Totally. And if you think about it, it's natural to fail when we are, babies, and we're starting to learn how to walk and crawl, and you fall, you try to stand up, you fall. That's how you learn to walk. And that's how we learn everything. We learn everything through failure and through understanding what happened in that failure and reacting in a different way and acting in a new way to try not to fail or to fail less, right?
Exactly.
Like putting that parallelism. So I'm just going to announce that in 5 minutes, we are going to open questions for the audience. So if you want to already start writing down your questions here in the comment sections of Facebook Live, I will be reading them. But before going to the audience questions, I want to ask you something that for me, it's super interesting, which is you are part of like 8 companies now. How many companies are you part of currently?
Yep. Yes.
8? Yep. Okay. How the fuck do you manage to do everything?
Man, that's another part of my life, because one thing is to create something, just one thing, right?
Yeah.
But then to create a lot of things at the same time is another thing. Okay. But I realized that one of my true passions is create something and handle that thing to other people. See?
Okay. You're a creator.
I think I want to believe that I'm a creator. Okay. So when I create something, I just surround by really good people and handle that thing to that people. Okay. I participate into that creations by being an advisor on some part of the operations, but not on a full-time basis. You see?
Yeah. Yeah.
I give value to that thing from another perspective. I created it. Okay. So I spotted a problem. The market validated, okay, that solution for that problem. And then when the operation starts to grow, I just handle that to the person, and that's it. Okay. And that's another good advice I can give you. You need to surround with people smarter than you are.
Good. Have people around you that are smarter than you. Good.
Obviously.
can I ask you more in a personal level? This is I'm taking this as my personal mentoring already. I have a similar mindset as you, and I also love creating, and then I love executing, but not all the time. I get bored like pretty easily, and I have a lot of ideas, so I want to create more things. What do you think about sharing participation of those companies in the people that are going to get in charge? Because with my business partner, we founded many companies and we help many entrepreneurs. And many times one of the discussions we had is, okay, we created the project, but now we're going to give more than 50% to this person who is going to get in charge of it. And we're going to lose our position there. And I always said, yes, but they are like getting in charge of the company. They're going to handle everything. If they succeed, we are going to succeed. So they have to have bigger stakes than us. And this was a constant friction that I had with my business partner. What do you think about this?
Man, if your business partner is in that position, get rid of your business partner.
Okay.
Sorry, my man.
Facebook Live.
Sorry, my man. But if you're creating something, right? You don't have the cash flow to pay good salaries to people, right? When you're starting.
Yeah.
So what do you need to do? You need to give them equity of your company in order to compensate or balance that low salary, but you're putting them into the big picture for the long run. You're here for the long run. You're gonna have equity of my creation, but now my creation is your creation as well, because we're gonna grow together. Yeah. It's not all about salary. Not at this time. So if you have companies today that are not giving equity, stock options, vesting to the key employees, okay, I think they're gonna be out of the picture.
Good. Equity for everybody is like participation in the business, being part owner of the business, of the company.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Perfect. So you
think
that giving participation shares to key employees is one of the keys to long-term success then?
For sure.
Good. And I want to go back to innovation. You said that it's very important that all the company is in the mindset of innovation. Did it ever happen to you that any of your employees brought a new solution for your transformation in any of your companies?
Yes, I can remember one actually with Turbo Boy, because we started Turbo Boy as a B2C company. So we were delivering actually as Globo, as Rappi, as Deliveroo, but not food, because we weren't there, never. Okay, we said no to delivering food.
Okay.
From the first day, but we were aiming the B2C. But one of our employees, I remember he told us that the company is not going to work because the customer acquisition cost for the end consumer is very high. So we need to change our business model into the B2B. Okay, so we adapt our technology to delivering goods to the enterprise.
Okay.
To companies.
And that was brought by an employee.
That was brought by an employee.
Did that employee get a raise or?
That employee ended up being a really good founder of the company as well. Co-founder.
You ended up giving him like participation in the company.
Not only participation, the co-founder title as well.
Oh, okay. Okay, I wanted to get to this point where anybody in any position end up being an entrepreneur because they are adding value to their company. That's good. That's interesting.
Yep.
Perfect. Let's talk a little bit. Do you have some more minutes?
I have a couple of more minutes.
Okay. Are you enjoying the conversation?
As always, my friend.
I want to talk a little bit about...
I'm just a little bit tired of my neck, but that's it.
Okay, okay, sorry. Next time we will hire a masseuse for your neck.
Please.
So I want to talk a little bit about passion, because everybody talks about passion, that you have to find something that you're passionate about. You have to build a business around passion. What's your stand here? Are you passionate about the about the things that your companies are doing, or you see
I learned it.
one part and passion in another side?
I learned it the hard way, Lucas, because I thought that you have to be passionate about something in order to be successful, and that's wrong. Okay, you can be successful in terms of business. Don't get me wrong. In terms of business, you can have a successful business without being passionate about it.
Okay.
Okay.
Like financially speaking, in terms of business.
Okay. In terms of business.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to be passionate about that business in order to be successful. But on the other side, if you're passionate about the thing that you're creating or the thing that you're building, you have the perfect equation, right? Because if you're not passionate about the business itself, you're going to struggle, okay? With anxiety, with stress, with a lot of things, okay? You're always going to feel anxiety and stress when you're creating something. But if you're passionate about it, that's another different thing, okay? But it's not correlated that you have to be passionate about something, and because being passionate, you're going to be successful. Actually, you can be passionate about something and fail on your business.
Totally. Yeah. We also should define what is success, and I think that it's very personal. Success will change for every person. The definition of success for everybody is going to be different. So maybe what you're saying is maybe you can identify a business opportunity, you can create a business around it, be super successful from a business point of view, but then as a person, as a human being, not feeling very filled.
Exactly. Right? Good. Exactly.
What are your passions then?
Create things.
And surfing, right?
No, man, I couldn't get to that. Thanks for inviting me, but that's not my thing, for sure.
And for everybody, I'm laughing because we once went surfing for the first time.
Don't tell that, man. Don't tell that. Don't tell that story, man.
And it was a very funny evening, but it was good. You had a smile face, so I think you
always.
Good.
I learned from every experience.
Totally. That day, you can say that you ate shit, right? Or ate water. Okay,
yes,
I'm going to check a little bit the comments to see what questions people have been doing. So a lot of love here from a lot of people. Samantha, Cristobal, Thomas, Francesco.
Chicho is there? Chicho
is here watching. So.
Oh my man. Chicho,
Samantha,
love you, my friend.
Samantha is 100% with love and adaptability. Wise words, totally very important. Here, a lot of European people say that they are using whiskey to wash their hands. Here they say also that Giorgio Armani is producing uniforms for doctors and nurses, for example. That's a good one.
There you go. Lucas, there you go. Don't get me wrong by saying this, but it's like when World War II happened. Every industry, every company was focused on producing into the war.
Yeah, I get it.
Every. The war right now is called COVID-19. So every single company, every single startup needs to think about that. How I'm going to tackle that problem. I'm going to help tackle that problem.
It's incredible. It's like a universal problem.
Exactly.
It's a universal. Did you ever think that you were going to live something like this?
No.
Wow.
Never. We're never prepared for a thing like this.
Here they ask me, how does Tecnológico de Monterrey push students to be entrepreneurs like no one else? What do they tangibly do?
Every single class is focused on entrepreneurship cases.
Every class from the MBA.
Every class you have entrepreneurship cases. You know that the Harvard cases reviews?
Yes.
They use that methodology.
Perfect. The same. Okay, the same methodology of Harvard. Here they say Samantha adds entrepreneur.
Give me a second.
Yes. Okay. Are you
sorry,
there?
My man. Sorry.
No,
Yes.
No problem. Do you want us to start closing the conversation?
No. Ask me something else.
Okay. Here Samantha says entrepreneur basically has to be optimistic. You choose to see the glass half full and learn from everything, and failure just becomes a lesson to on a new next challenge. 100%, right? You're on board with that one.
100%. And again, you need to be optimistic, but realistic at the same time. You need information in order to make decisions, right?
So optimistic and realistic.
Optimistic and realistic at the same time.
Gus the other day said he preferred people to be unrealistic.
Ooh.
What do you think about that?
And what is to be unrealistic?
I think he was talking about thinking big, thinking about crazy things. He was talking more about innovation, you know.
That's another, but that's another layer, I think.
Okay.
That expression in his context is different from mine.
Okay, perfect. So what's your context then? What do you mean by being optimistic and realistic? Because he was talking, let me give you context on what he was talking about. He was talking about innovation, but at the same time, he was talking about entrepreneurship. When people are finding solutions for the problems that they identified, he preferred people to be unrealistic because a lot of people were like restricted because others around them tell them to be realistic. Oh, this cannot be done. This is going to be very hard. This is going to be very expensive. So what's the difference with what you are saying?
Not that you put it into those words. I think we're on the same track. But for me to be realistic is that you need to have information in order to make good decisions. Okay? You need to know what is happening on your surroundings with everything. Okay?
So to take decisions with information that support those decisions?
Again, you cannot create something today, not aiming to tackle the COVID-19 thing, right?
Yeah.
We agree on that.
Yes.
Right? That's a huge problem, and that huge problem has another small problems around it, right?
Yes.
You need to be optimistic about the situation because it's a huge problem itself. So you need to be optimistic, but at the same time, you need to be realistic. You need to have information about the problem, right?
Totally.
That's what I'm putting realistic into that
so
context.
Maybe we could say that like having a vision and a vision and a bigger picture that is a little bit unrealistic, but in the day-to-day things, make steps based on realistic information.
Exactly.
Like that?
Thank you for putting into that. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Okay. Here, Cristobal Severino. Cristobal asks, obviously, something about IT. He's wondering about Bossy. He wants to know what's the status around the competitors around the world.
Sure, we have competitors.
Sorry,
we have
thinking more about differentiation. Is it only a dialect Spanish thing, or are there other points of differentiation?
I think that the technology that we're using, so the neural text-to-speech, okay, the way we're developing that technology, I think it's giving us a competitive advantage in the long run, right? the 3 different layers, it's another competitive advantage. But what we're doing is not unique. See?
Okay.
It's not unique. We have competitors, right? We have Indian competitors. We have US competitors, not Google, not Amazon. They are aiming to a different industry and another different kind of user.
Yeah.
But the way we are developing our technology, that's a key differentiator. And the 3 layers that we talked a little bit earlier. So the speech analytics, the voice biometrics, and the virtual assistant, no one is doing that. No one.
Okay, good.
So for the moment, that's a unique thing for us. But in the long run, it's easy to copy. Not easy to copy, but every company could copy that, you know?
Yeah. So
remember that for me, the only competitive advantage that you have actually is your brand.
That's where I wanted to get. So for you, the main differentiation in the future is going to be brand.
For sure, 100%.
Good.
100%. What is different? Let me put it into these words. You know Gary Vaynerchuk, right? He's an influencer, right?
Yeah.
Why is so different right now? Why is so unique? Because he's Gary Vaynerchuk, right?
Yeah, his name, his brand.
You have a lot of tons, millions of another influencers that are trying to do the same way he does it, right?
Yeah.
Being aggressive, cursing all the time, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But he's Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah.
He created a brand around it. It's not only Gary Vaynerchuk, the person. It's a brand already.
100%.
Okay, Gary Vaynerchuk right now, it's a lot of things.
Totally. And he supports many businesses, like this company founded by Gary V, or part of the family company of Gary V. And this also applies not only for companies, but also for individuals. Well, in this case, Gary V, you're talking about an individual, but I think for anybody who's working in a company, investing in their personal brand is going to be super, super important, right?
Yeah, sure. Lucas, you can copy software, you can copy business models, you can hire the best people if you have the resources to do that. Okay, the only thing you cannot copy is your brand. You cannot copy Coca-Cola, you cannot copy Apple, you cannot copy Samsung. See, so you in the long run, you need to build a brand. That's going to be your only true, unique competitive advantage.
And what do you think is the most important thing in a brand then? What is a component of a great brand for you?
The purpose?
Yeah, purpose, like it. Okay.
The purpose. That's the most important thing of all. And then you have a lot of things, but I would say in the first step, the purpose is going to be the most important one, and then the value proposition.
Okay. Good.
What I'm doing for you as a customer.
Exactly, and not only what, but also I think the relationship that you create with the customer.
Exactly.
Very important.
Exactly.
I see it like personal relationships. Who are your closer friends, the people that you get along with more, and maybe they are not the best persons in the world, or they're the people that are giving you the most, but they are the people that you connect the most with. So I think companies also, it's about what connection can you get with the customer, and what place in the mind of the customer can you achieve, right? I like seeing like that as well. Okay, perfect. Here, sorry. Okay. Here, Cristobal Figueroa, another Cristobal, also you know him. He asked, what do you think about companies changing their logos because of the coronavirus? I don't know if you're an expert in branding, but okay, you're an expert.
I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert in branding. That's for sure. I think that if you change your logo, but it still makes sense with your purpose, I think it's a good strategy. If it still makes sense with your purpose, it's a good tactic, not strategy, tactic.
Okay, good. What?
Don't ask me about tactics and strategy, please. No.
I was going there. I was going straight there. Okay, don't worry. Okay. Okay, perfect. Great. Let me see more questions.
Samantha still there?
I don't know. Maybe yes. Okay.
Tell her that I love her, and David too, and Cristobal too.
Okay.
Both Cristobals.
Also, Jose is also here sending love. So
Jose is also okay.
Everybody's here watching you, of course. Great. No, I wanted to go back a little bit to personal branding, branding in general, but more related to sales, because now your position is sales manager, like one of the founders, right, of Bossy, but also the sales manager, right? That is like your
sales director.
Sales director. Sorry. So you basically, why do you sell? You think that you're selling today because of the brand, because of the value proposition, or obviously a combination of everything? But what's your main way of selling today? What's your main focus when selling today? Like, what are
try to understand your customer by empathizing with them. Period.
Okay. Understanding your customer, and from there connecting with them in order to give them a solution they need.
So this is going to give you a very good sense of what emotional intelligence is. You need to listen first, and then you act. Okay, because if you're one of those salesperson that it's
pushy,
like being pushy, being aggressive, without letting the customer speak itself, it's not going to work. Not today.
Okay. Always first listen.
Always listen. What are their needs? What are their needs? What are their triggers? Everything. Empathize with them.
In a world where everything is going digital and online, how it's going to get harder to listen, I think, right? You can listen through analytics, through behaviors online, but it's going to be a little bit harder to listen, do you think?
You need to find a way. You said it itself, like 1 hour ago. What was the thing that you were saying about the digital what pushes the digital transformation into companies today? Not the CEO, not the CTO, not the CIO, the coronavirus.
Context,
Exactly, context. So this context today, the coronavirus thing, is going to push companies into the digital world like you never seen it. If you think that you were already in the digital world, you have no idea, man. You have no idea. And you're still going to need to empathize with your customers. You need to find a way to do that.
And what do you think it's stopping companies from going forward with the digital transformation? What is the main obstacle or thing that is stopping companies? Fear. Culture.
They don't know how to use this.
So
what is it for?
The old generation, are you saying that?
I think they are struggling. They're having a really bad time understanding today's world, today's context, and the coronavirus is teaching them a really good lesson, but in the hard way. A lot of big companies, Lucas, a lot of big companies today are going to disappear in the next few months. And they were big in terms of employees, in terms of revenues. They're going to disappear. It's a sad thing, but it's going to happen.
And it goes back to the beginning. You said it's about who can adapt better to the context.
That's it. That's it.
Good.
That's it.
So
adapt, because progress is never satisfied.
Never, ever.
And if Samantha is listening to me, remember that.
100%. Progress is never satisfied. And so the biggest thing that is stopping companies from digital transformation is fear of not understanding. Good. And what about cost? Cost, it's because it brings some cost, right?
But in the short term. But that's the thing. They're not visioning the long run. This is an investment, okay? And I'm not talking about mobiles. It's just to put you in context. Okay?
Yeah. Okay, good one. Here Samantha is listening. Here Jose sends you a big kiss, and all the team sends you a big kiss. Santiago is also sending.
Look, hey, Lucas, look what you're doing right now. Look what you're doing. You're doing a masterclass online, right?
Yeah.
You help Jose and all the team at Inside Academy to build something that you perform on a face-to-face with the students.
Yeah.
On a face-to-face basis, right?
Yeah.
You're doing the exact same thing, but online right now.
Yeah. And reaching more people, because people that are in other parts of the world, you're in fucking Colombia, you're so far away and you're talking with me. And we're reaching a lot of people in South America.
We have a 17-hour difference. We have a 17-hour difference right now.
Wow. Yeah, I'm in the future. Cool. Here, Samantha asks, what's the biggest fear, risk, avoidance you think stops entrepreneurs or businesses from succeeding? Fear. Again.
Can you ask me again? Can you ask me again?
What's the
sorry guys.
Okay. Okay, so people, we're here with Alejo, very busy.
Sorry. Was my wife asking me if I'm gonna have dinner with her.
Okay. Do you need to leave? We can wrap it up.
No, but ask me again, Samantha's question, please.
Okay. What's the biggest fear / risk avoidance you think stops entrepreneurs or businesses from succeeding? Did you get it?
Oof, that's a very good question. Samantha always has good questions. They're very profound.
Yeah.
They're very deep.
Yeah.
I think companies are struggling with old structures. I think they're not getting into this new. There's no this word hierarchies.
Heritage, yeah.
Right.
Heritage.
No, not heritage. Not heritage.
So what did you say? So
Jerarquías.
Ah, okay. Hierarchy.
I think companies are struggling with that today.
Like different positions in the
because they fear or they struggle with giving or empowering their employees.
They fear empowering their employees. Okay.
I think they struggle with that today a lot. They need to give relevance, and with the millennials, millennials right now need to have challenges, like in very short periods of time, right?
Totally.
Because they need to be challenging and changing all the time. So you need to empower them with new challenges, with new things to do on the company. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that companies are not being successful today, What else? There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things. Not understanding context, trying, not having a real purpose, for example, or a clear purpose. A lot of things. I think a lot of things is making people, making companies not being successful right now.
About purpose, we are mainly living in a capitalist world. And how do you think that this new context is going to change a little bit? Do you think it's going to change the landscape, the context, more companies focusing on purpose? Or how do you see the future of companies?
I think companies are going to learn the hard way with this context, with this COVID-19 thing, that they have to change not their purpose, but they have to change their vision about the world and the business itself. Business is not going to be the same after this thing. That's for sure. Okay, but the purpose, if you have your purpose, the purpose for me is the only thing that you cannot change, right? You need to have a purpose from day one. Okay?
Yeah.
You can change your value proposition, you can change your strategy, your tactics, your business model, whatever, your goals, your objectives, whatever. But the only thing you cannot change is your purpose. Because if you change your purpose, you're jeopardizing your company.
So when you talked in previously about pivoting, about changing, the purpose won't pivot.
For me, no.
But do you think that entrepreneurs need to know clearly from the beginning what is their purpose? Because I think that is one of the hardest things in life, in business.
But
purpose.
You're talking but you're talking about your purpose as a human being. That's difficult, okay? But for the company, it's another kind of purpose, okay? Sometimes they match, sometimes they don't. Okay?
But still, let's talk about pivoting. For instance, maybe you're discovering your purpose, or you think that you have to get into business and create a company already with a clear purpose. You cannot find it along the way.
It's going to be difficult. If you do it that way, it's going to be difficult because you're always going to be changing because you're not finding that purpose. If you set up your purpose since day one, you know where you're going. Even if you pivot your business model, the thing is that if you're pivoting your business model, not your purpose.
Yeah.
It's a different thing. Okay? You pivot the way you receive or the revenue streams. You pivot your value proposition. You pivot the whole business model, but not your purpose.
So it would be really important for entrepreneurs to, from day zero, start focusing on, okay, what's the purpose that I'm going to have with this company? Not in my life. This company, what is my purpose? What is the purpose of this project?
The biggest example of this, Lucas, is Apple. The purpose of Apple is the same since day one till today. They change a lot of times. Their business model, a lot of things they change, but not their purpose.
Which is creating great products is the purpose of Apple?
Creating what?
I think once I heard Steve Jobs saying that the purpose of Apple was creating amazingly great products.
I don't know if that's the one. I have to look. But let me check it here. Steve Jobs described Apple purpose and remains today in two perfect sentences when he was only 22.
Okay.
Okay?
What's the purpose?
Let me check. My internet it's giving me a hard time here.
Purpose. What's the
Did
purpose?
you find it already?
If you want, I can try to find it, but you talk about what's the purpose of Bossy nowadays. Well, nowadays, no. What's the purpose of Bossy and how that kept through the pivoting? How did you keep that purpose?
Sorry, my man. Can you ask again?
Yeah. What's the purpose of your company, Bossy, and through the pivoting that you went through, was that purpose kept or changed?
No, the purpose remains the same. We wanna give people the best way, the best customer experience by giving them a tool, or the most natural tool, in this case, the voice.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good. Okay.
Lucas, 5 more minutes, man.
Okay. I have a student asking, well, I think she's a student. I don't know if Flavia Ramirez or Fabi Ramirez. She asks, what can you do if your customers are not in the digital era?
If you're, but what kind of business are you in?
No, we were talking about digital transformation and why everybody should start thinking about online. It's an old question. And she was asking, okay, I think she's asking it from a company perspective, I can change and start doing everything digitally, but sometimes customers are not in the digital era.
Actually, that's one of the things you got to do as an entrepreneur. You have to push your customers the best way possible to switch, okay, into your product or service. If you have, for example, I don't know, Snapchat.
Yeah.
A 70-year-old person is not going to be your customer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, not the media.
You can, yes. You first of all, you got to know your customer, okay?
Yeah.
By doing research again and all this design thinking process and whatever, okay? But if your customer is outside your scope, you can try and you can try and try to change their mindset about your product or service. It's not going to be easy, and it's if it's giving you a hard time, then it is not your customer. You have to resign.
Okay.
Okay, because not everyone is going to be your customer.
100%. Yeah.
And that's one of the key things about being an entrepreneur. You need to know that you need to be aware that you have a lot of resignations to do in terms of resources, customers, a lot of things.
You're not going to be able to serve everybody or please everybody or sell to everybody. So understanding who your customer is and getting a really good relationship with them, so the connection is so powerful that you are really important for them.
Exactly. So be aware, guys, everyone that is listening to me there. Be careful when you're in front of people, investor, customer. Let's suppose you're in Australia. Australia has a 24 million population, right? Yeah. There's 24 million people in Australia. You cannot say, if you start a company down there, you cannot say that your customers, the whole market of your company, 24 million.
We lost your voice. I cannot.
You listen to me? You listening to me right now?
So we were in 24 million. We cannot say that.
You cannot say that your market, potential market, it's 24 million people. That's impossible.
Except if you sell hand sanitizers.
Yes, but again, we're going to have the dilemma of users and customers, because babies, they're going to use the hand sanitizers, but they're not the customers, right? But that's another conversation.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, what else?
Sorry?
The last question. Last question.
Okay, last question. So, well, just
I'm hungry.
to purpose, Samantha says the purpose is the why of the golden circle, and the how and the what are the business model, and the why is the core. Then to relate it to the question of the digitalization of customers, Santi adds, if your customers are not on the digital era, you need to educate them quickly, what you said, or find new ones. And Samantha says digitalization doesn't have to be for the solution necessarily. It can be also from the internal aspects of the company. Totally. Processes.
Totally.
Making everything more efficient. So the last question is going to be, dear Alejandro, which one do you prefer, furphy or little creatures?
Ooh, man, I hate you.
Now this one, I think it's Jose who asked this one, eh?
It's in my heart, furphy, for sure.
Furphy. That's good. Okay, furphy.
The blue color, man, I miss that blue color.
Furphy. With the factory in Geelong, right?
The factory in Geelong. That's a very good entrepreneurial story, if you want to read it, about it.
I don't know anything about them. I'm going to look into it.
I want to say something about Samantha's approach from a minute ago. And there's a really good book about this theory about the why, how, and what. The title of the book is Start with Why, actually, by Simon Sinek. Really good book. That's a really good book. And that's a really good author. You want to check him out. Yeah.
We always promote him in inside, both in the classes, also on our social media. We're all the time talking about the golden circle, the start with why. Super important to start with why, and that is what's going to build everything around the company, right? So last question. What advice would you give to a smart, driven college student about to enter the real world? Or I like putting it more, if you could go back to the past and talk to yourself when you were 20, 22 years old and you were just starting this journey that is called real life, what advice would you give to yourself?
Learn the true meaning of the word sacrifice, right?
Yes.
Deal with failure. Learn to deal with failure. Okay. So with the word no. Yeah. And the most important thing of all, patience.
Perfect. Okay.
I'm going for the long run.
I love it.
I'm going for the marathon, not the sprint.
I love it, my friend. I love it. And I love this conversation. So thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it as much as I did.
As always, my friend.
And thank you.
Especially talking to you and the other guys on the backstage. Send my best to David, Marcela, Jose, Samantha, Santi, Saul, everyone, and the students. I love them all.
Perfect.
I miss Australia.
Yeah, we miss you. We miss you a lot. We still have some sort of feeling that at some point you might come back. The last thing you lose is hope. And faith. So it would
never
be
say never. Never say never.
Face in a future time. So Alejo, querido, my friend, thank you very much for joining me. Have a good night. Enjoy dinner. Kisses for the family, and see you next
too,
time.
my friend.
Everybody, thank you
See you
for
next
joining.
time.
Thank you for being here, and see you on Monday for another Masterclass Express. Bye, Ale.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.